Hello, this is the first time we've seen each other here. Coach! Coach, you were a doctor? A doctor? Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It was the first time we've seen him in his, suit, whatever you want to call it, doctor's. I suck when it comes to clothes. It's like, oh, what do you call this type of clothing? I don't know, clothes. I'm not exactly a very fashionable person either, really. It would make sense if he was actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Irie-sensei, didn't she? Well, yes, I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors have it really good, you know. You get to see and touch all the young, silky, smooth skin. I could inject them with a weird chemical that'd make them my slaves and have them be my personal maids. Seriously, man, if he said that, well, even Keiichi wasn't overly familiar with him and he was still acting like that, so forget that. What if it's like someone coming in from out of town to the clinic? Does he still pull that shtick? Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Polite bow. What, did you say that out loud? Whoa, wait! My boss-san! Nah, a joke, it was a joke. Come sit down and let me take a look at you. I'll need to use my stethoscope, so show me your silky smooth chest, my boss-san. For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought eventually everything had gone crazy, Coach was here doing the same thing he always did. I was very happy for that. This track is very much like that one in Planet. You know, where there has that, I think it's called Spring Wind, but it's the piano version. And it kind of sounds really kind of laid back and kind of like slightly melancholic. But it has that kind of, it always appears in kind of scenes like this, essentially. It's like they got a similar vibe, these two tracks, you know? Like this one has that melancholic kind of feel to it, but it's kind of calming. I didn't say that as much as I thought everything had gone ready. The coach was here doing the same thing he always did. I was very happy for that. You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, those scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the painful sting. Don't tell me you were playing in the bushes with short sleeves and shorts. I mean, I can't say for sure you haven't been infected with tetanus. As I was chasing that man last night, I kept being scraped by bits of trees. I didn't realize I had so many cuts. You went a little too crazy at the festival yesterday. Enjoy that while you're young. And once again, I apparently went to the festival. Coach, did you go to the festival? Yeah, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Tatarigoroshi Executive Committee. This is totally not the voice I originally gave you. But, you know, inconsistent appearances of you make it hard to remember what voice I gave you. Did you see me there? This coach was the same coach that I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than any weird friend, so I asked. Well, actually, I was drinking in the main tent with the chairman and the others the whole time. I didn't go out to see the festival at all. I don't think I saw you. Oh. Well, it kind of adds up, really, because, like, the festival that he seems to have appeared at is like a mix of Onikakushi and Watanagashi, and we didn't see him in either of those arcs. So I guess that's kind of like keeping it consistent with that, but it's still confusing as fuck. That was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forget about what happened last night? And underage too, you bad child. Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in an unnatural way like Mion and Renda did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world. Well, this all might seem a little weird to you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Yes, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful worries you might have as you come into your secondary sex characteristics. Could it be possible that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all and couldn't say anything for a moment. But then he smiled calmly and quietly answered. This is just superstition, but I've heard before that everyone who has 12 people in the world who look just like them. If there was, I'd certainly like to meet him, though. Also, there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous. Doppelgangers? Yes, they look exactly like another person. Apparently they herald misfortune, and if you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went. Well, that's gonna help Keiichi's sanity, isn't it? Yeah! When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. What the fuck, Germany? The story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. Well, it's not just Germany, really, is it? I mean, every country has their kind of like folklore and all these mysterious kind of mythology where it's just like, oh, and it all ends with doom and gloom. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me, though. He was just offering a casual antidote, but that made it feel all the more real. Have you ever heard of one of those things showing up in Higurashi? What? Well, I can't say that I have. Coach must have thought he was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. I'm sorry, well, I was sort of being serious. Wait, no, that was Keiichi. I'm sorry, well, I was sort of being serious. No, I apologize for laughing. Was there something you were worried about? I wondered if I should tell him then. After resolving myself one final time, I slowly spoke. I didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? Well, there will be one next year. And then you can... That's not what I meant! I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that even be possible? Oh, serious face now. Oh, seriousness calls for goofy music. This sounds like something out of the cheesiest horror movie possible. Like Island 1970s or 1980s horror that's like pure cheese. There's some kind of like that bit right there. That sounds like video game music where like things are getting tense, but it has that goofy kind of After blinking his eyes and amazing, the coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully. Let me make sure I have this straight. My Barakun, you were into the Watanagashi festival, but don't remember it. Am I right? I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night Keiichi and my bar was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. But that was absolutely impossible. That vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. All those scripts on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat wasn't in the locker. No, that's not it, Coach. I really didn't go to the festival. Please don't take offense, my bar-san. Have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and you couldn't remember why? No. And I didn't lose my memories or anything. Because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. It wasn't like I was asleep and unconscious or anything. You're certain you were doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude, but are you sure you're not mistaken? I know I'm not. My memories are clear as day. They were real. During the festival, you weren't at the shrine and you were doing something somewhere else. Can you definitely prove that? That's right. The thing that brought me to this. There was only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday. And that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer and his eyes looked a little cold. I guessed he would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo sputtering nonsense. Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should relax and take it easy for a bit. Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down. You seem to be a little worked up. Why don't I give you a sedative that'll let you sleep for a bit? That way... I'm not being strange! Coach seemed to realize he was treating me like a deviant and he raised his voice. I apologize if I've offended you, so please, calm down. I definitely didn't go to the festival, and I didn't stumble on my words, you liar! That's the truth! I understand, so please calm down. Take a deep breath. No, you don't understand at all! Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction. I do understand, my Bar-san. You didn't go to the festival, you say. Is that right? I believe you. Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I think I heard about it in a visual novel, actually. I think it was Karno Shoujo. I think because when he's the protagonist is going over medical files, it's just I think they commented on something like that. It's oh yeah, they're written in German because it makes it, I don't know, I think it makes it so that it's more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I would say personal, but that's not quite the word. Harder to decipher in case someone just I don't know. But what if it's in Germany? Okay, everyone else writes these records in German for some reason. And I forget the reason. It's probably to keep it confidential, I suppose. That's the word I'm looking for. But what if someone stumbles upon them who actually knows German? It's ha 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 ha. And what if in Germany it's okay, we're going to have to do our own version of this because we're in Germany, right? How about we write it all in Portuguese, right? No, rub it out, no. We gotta go more foreign. How about Mandarin? Nobody fucking understand that shit. Then oh shit. Chinese patients got hold of it. Well, not patients, but just someone who happens to be, I don't know. It's damn it, there's no foolproof way of doing this. Fuck it, we'll write in Latin. That'll start to solve this issue. It's fuck, we don't all know Latin though, because it's dead language. Oh, fuck it. Go with German. So that his patient wouldn't know what it said. Could have probably wrote in English as well, and he probably wouldn't have understood. Because Keiichi has been established as not being good at English. That seems to be a common trait among protagonists in sound and visual novels, isn't it? It's oh, we're Japanese, right? And we learn a bit of English, but we're the protagonists. So we're kind of we don't really understand it very well. I don't know. But I could make a good guess as to what he wrote. Come to think of it, when do Japanese students start learning English anyway? Because they always see it portrayed in a kind of negative way. It's oh, I suck at this, I hate learning English, fuck this shit. But in Japanese, of course. Just no, it fries my brain as much as math fries everyone else's brains. I don't know. But what point do they start learning that? Is it I don't know. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Although probably no answer to that, but whatever. But I could make a good guess as to what he wrote. You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at the time, will you? No, I believe you. Please sit down. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out, and I quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at that time I was... Should I tell him or not? Well, we don't get choices like a visual novel, so it's up to you, Keiichi. I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them the final fatal words. Because I was killing Satoko's uncle at the time. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us sharpen. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while. You killed Satoko-chan's uncle? Yeah, it's fine now, Keiichi. Don't hesitate. Admit it with all your strength. Yes, last night I did it. I killed him. Well, it was quite a while ago, Keiichi, record-wise, but yeah, I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank. Why would you? No, that was a foolish question. I believed it was the most direct method of saving Satoko, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets. I see. Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness in my house for the darkness of the outside. After that I dug holes, made phone calls, I had my hands full. And then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening, but was suspended due to the rain. There were no gaps in my memories. From the late afternoon until it started to rain. There was no time for me to possibly have gone to the festival. And those wounds, are they from that? Yes. There's a road through the forest near Satoko's house. I attacked him there. He ran, but I chased him and finally killed him near the road that leads to town. Is that true? Pulling your uncle, it wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell that Coach didn't believe me. So I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited. It's true. I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it and the uncle's motorbike into the swamp. I dug a hole, killed him, and buried him. I did it all by myself. Soka-chan's uncle drove past you on a motorbike, did he? Then you predicted he'd do that and just waited. I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day, so I lied to him over the phone to get him out. You called him, but your house is so far away from Satoko-chan's. I wouldn't think you'd be able to make it there so soon after calling him. I used the phone close to where I was going to attack him, the one at school. But my Bara-san, it was Sunday. Wouldn't the school have been locked up? The forest ranger happened to go inside for a bit. I slipped in when I had a chance. After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account. I'll believe you. What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream. I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no coincidences or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or delusion, and finally seemed to want to believe me. So, you still think I went to the festival and lost my memory? Coach slowly shook his head. But everyone in class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible? No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone who looked very similar. Then, given how group psychology works, everyone just assumed that you had been at the festival. They couldn't have mistaken me. Mion and all the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi Maibara. It was much more than just having mistaken someone else for me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones. Do you feel guilty at all? It didn't sound like he was criticizing me, and even if he had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so that I could return the peaceful days that he'd stolen from us. So I plan to forget all about having killed him and live my life as usual. When Satoko's regular smile returns, the one from before he showed up, everything will finally be over. Any chance that someone witnessed the crime? I don't think so. If someone had seen me, I would have been arrested already. I'm a doctor. My job is to save lives, so I cannot make any statements to the effect of condoning the taking of another's life. So instead I will say this. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder. For saving Satoko-chan, I thank you. Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. Sorry, I can't voice act those type of scenes very well. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears. Who's saying what? It's strange. What is? I'm sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened. Depending on the situation, there are many ways that mere unconsciousness can look like real death to a layperson. Do you think it's possible he was just knocked out? I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in. Can I ask you to reproduce the situation in which you attacked him, by Bar-san? Coach rolled up a Health and Fitness Week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bats. Though I may have been lost to the emotions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung from, and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over one by one. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the top of the head like this. When I did, I felt it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I'd cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing this information using the places I'd struck and the situation at hand, to find out what state the uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he was dead, so I hit him a few more times after he fell. Did he react at all? At first I sort of felt his body jolting with every hit, but eventually that stopped too and he didn't react at all. Coach folded his arms and said, a few times. And then he spoke. He's dead. There's not much doubt about it. He didn't just look like he was. I can't say very much from just your story, my Bar-san, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried the corpse in the mud, and that took you quite a bit of time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried under the muddy water for those 30 minutes. If you don't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what. You mean, even ignoring how hard I hit him, he would definitely have died while I was burying him? That's right. It's impossible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes. Possible, you're right. But, Satoko, she says he's alive! Coach, the doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfair that he could still be among the living. My Bar-san, this is a really horrible idea, but is it possible that the person you killed wasn't actually your uncle? Huh? He's right. That could be why it cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive. There's no way! I mean, we were both at Satoko's house when she was bringing his alcohol inside. There was a man who stuck his face out the window to look. It was him, right? No, it's Satoko's uncle, right? Yes, you're not wrong. It was that man. Could she have had more than one uncle or something? Not one that I've never heard of. It's just him. Could you tell me what he looked like? Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I'd killed someone else, Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I told the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were all extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. Could you, is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure? Now that you mention it, I've never seen it, but... Wait, no, that's him. Could you, is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure? Bah. Now that you mention it, I've never seen it, but I believe Satoko-chan once said a long time ago that he had a tattoo of a tiger or something on his back. A tattoo? That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof I'd killed the right one. At the moment, though, there was one other thing that would verify this. To go to Satoko's house and see for myself the uncle that had returned home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satoko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him, and yet he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding or even a shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi my bar had been at the festival despite it being impossible. That small command of made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permitting this insane individual. wonder what on earth could have happened, despite you not going to... Wait, no. Okay, that's it. I wonder what on earth could have happened, despite you not going to the festival and killing Satoko-chan's uncle. You're at the festival and the uncle you killed is alive. None of this makes any sense. When I look at everything that way, it's almost like I'm just having a nightmare and there's no killer at all. But it's the truth. Sensation as I use my own hands and the bat to bash him again and again. There's no illusion or dream. Coach let out a slow sigh, then after looking at the clock, got up. Let's go over this all a little more seriously. If you'll excuse me, I'll go put on some tea. Clinic's about to close after all. I need to let the other employees leave. Coach stood up and went out into the hallway, leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and the uncle I'd killed was alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of the fact that proved it happened was the absence of that bat from Sadochi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Normally that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run, he cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my intention smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized I really had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. As soon as I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. Of course. Always happens, isn't it? He always stumbles upon stuff. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the 2 doctors. Black tea, I'll make some. Mix in I'm around the bar and whatever the fuck you pronounce that is. Go with the taste with milk and sugar. May grow suspicious at the sudden onset of drowsiness, and he may actually be watching from the corner. It's possible he may get agitated and become violent. He will handle it. How many male staff are still here? 1 mounting dog, including us 3. What was all this? I think I was already agitated, despite what Coach said. Was that it? Was it just casual conversation? It was only sounding unbelievable to me. Coach said he would bring some black tea and left the room. And then, in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea. Plus, they were getting extra help in case I thought the sudden sleepiness was suspicion started getting violent. Hey, wait, Keiichi, my bara. Calm down, calm down. There's no way something stupid could be happening. I mean, he was generally listening to my story, and he even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Rizal would understand. This was. There are signs of fabrications are falsehoods, and his memories of yesterday in particular are completely confused. He can no longer tell truth from falsehood. It's quite similar to multiple personality disorder. As for how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's inborn, or perhaps there were signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying at a mental hospital before he moved here. In any case, I want him to take a quiet nap. The 2 doctors nodded deeply. I should probably contact my Barakun's parents too. Though I can't think of what to tell them. Please find his home phone number for me. My eyes still moist began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought you'd actually understand and I'd believe what I told her. But now from the other side of that wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. Ha! I believed you! I believed you! I had let down my guard because I thought you were the only ally I had left after that insane night. Was that a lie? Was it a lie? All that about being on Satoko's behalf. You were just pretending in order to keep me pleasant. Ah! My tears fell to the ground in frustration. I was an idiot. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. Why do I go into accents all the time? Please. Just can't help it, man. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. And you know, if you like met me in real life, you'd be like, wait, do you do that in real life as well as go into random accents? No, just when recording. I I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up. Dr. Irie, it's terrible. They found Takno-san. Takno-san? Wait, where? Well, apparently they discovered her burned corpse in the mountains in Gifu. That's the actual location then. She's dead. Takno-san. Men all surprised exchanged glances. Dead? Takno-san? Hey, wait, so then, does that mean when I cursed her wishing for her death, that wish was granted? What do you mean, burn corpse? Was it an accident? According to the Gifu's police statement, the possibility is extremely high that she was murdered. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right, you bitch! He didn't add that bit, but he totally was. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come driving up to me and try to course me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. I cursed my wish for her demise. It was fulfilled! And somehow you're convinced that you're not, a bit crazy right now, Keiichi. Serves you right! Serves you right! Misa-san died and Takno-san died. What on earth could be happening in Mizawa? Don't tell me that this was all Oyashiro-san's curse for this year. Like hell, I'd let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Takno and who the fuck is Risa? Yes, maybe it wasn't Oyashiro-sama's curse, but this was definitely a spell, a curse. I wished for her to die, so she did! If this wasn't just a coincidence and she died because I wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach! You betrayed me! You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman! That's totally Keiichi right now. He's like, me insane, crazy, I'm not a madman. Fucking, you go die, you son of a bitch. That's Keiichi right now. Does that sound like a sane man? No. You look down on me with all that pity in your eyes. But now get the black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. I don't think he'd let anyone besides me be alone. Shit. What do I do? This time I heard the voice of a nurse. Dr. Irie, oh, there you are. You have a phone call. I'm a little busy at the moment, so please tell him I'll call back. You might even be a male nurse, so whatever. Whatever. Who's it from? I'm Mr. Oishi from Oknomiya Police Department. Sheesh, what bad time. Alright, I'll answer it. Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with a teapot to make the black tea, like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call meant there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink the sedative infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. There had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If it came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct like it had on that night. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission routes between my cells enlarged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. And then he was like, the window! Oh, he's thinking that I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little beyond there was the bicycle I had taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound to raise little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow like I had had on that night I chased her uncle. But then he realized he was on the second floor, but he's like, ah, fuck it. I unlocked the window and opened it up. Cool evening breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around. Then I jumped onto my bicycle and zoomed away. The pedals clattered under the force. Had my bike always creaked like this? Did the pedals always whine every time I pushed down on them? My bike wasn't the only one crying, though. My tears fell as the wind got through them. They rode the breeze and scattered behind me. I hate this, I'm not the crazy what Himisawa is. How dare you treat me like a man to man? Die, Shinny! Just fucking die already! I believed you! I fucking believed you! I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Renna and Mion's invitation, but the reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane, me or Hinamizawa? Or perhaps both? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling into the winds? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling, they were crying. The wailing of those lost in some kind of rhythm in another world, no longer able to return to their own sunlight. Or maybe you just say that for a title drop. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like that. And actually, at about this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Satoko would have gotten a smile back after realizing her uncle wouldn't have come home, and she might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. So what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I'd killed who was living like normal, and I'd enjoyed myself at a festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. Where did it start to go wrong? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my home. It had begun to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart that Coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly, was far worse. Did I have no allies in Mizawa anymore? With the naive thoughts that I at least wanted my parents beside me, I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Yes. I wanted to dig up the man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there was a tiger tattoo there, I would know beyond a doubt he was Satoko's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all reparation, illusion, or all our divine punishments, then I needed to make certain whether I'd been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hand was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthless coldness about it. Yeah. It would be dark soon, so I need the lantern too. There would be a little bit of light from the streetlights, but it would get extremely dark. I thought I'd put the lantern here, but I suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. Then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course, on that night I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. I left it at the place I buried the body. If I didn't go to get it soon, it would get very dark. And then not only would I be unable to find the spot I'd buried the corpse, but I wouldn't even be able to find the lantern itself. If that happened, it was all over. I need to hurry. You need to hurry! Next time! God knows, man. This route definitely won't be cleared before October, that's for sure. Really. I think this will be 2, maybe even all 3 parts. It depends, really. Otherwise, like, if this is going to be split into 2 parts instead of 3 parts, then I guess I'll record another part at some other point before October. Otherwise, return to your so-called needing to hurry will have to wait till November, Keiichi, because of October. Special jazz. Whatever. See you next time, viewers. See you next time.